Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel, Pretty Pink Craft Room. Thank you so much for joining me today for our another crafty project that we will work on together. So for today's project, we have a simple, very easy folio that we will be putting together. It's a trifold folio, and as you can see, it's still very flat. This is how the front looks. I added some lace ribbon here, some decoration, and this is the front, and then as you can see, this is the back here. So it's a very simple project that you could add to a journal page as an insert, but you could also give it to someone as a gift, as a standalone gift. It can be given as well. So this is again, as I mentioned, is a very simple project. You've probably seen these done many times before, but what I did when I sat down to try to make it is I tried to think of a different type of closure that I could give to the project. As opposed to just using a standard ribbon or Velcro dots, I wanted to do something a little bit different. So what I did was add this little swing closure. Kind of looks like a drawbridge from a castle. That's what it reminded me of when I sat down and tried to do it. But all it does is I've added a pull tab here and a ribbon, and you just pull it up and it acts as your closure. And then once you pull it up, then now you can open up your folio like so. And this is how it looks from the inside, those three panels there. On the first panel, we have double pockets, and inside are these journal cards, and again, they're easily pulled out from these tabs that were created on top of it. And this is the top pocket, making sure I'm in frame here so you can see. This is the top pocket, and the back, this has all this journaling space there, or if you want to place a note there for the recipient, you can do that as well. In the middle panel is a pocket here as well. So this one has another skinny tag there, and then this one has more journaling spot here with the little girl as well. So that's a pocket in the front. And then when you pull it down, there's journaling space here in the middle that you could take advantage of. And then in the top at the back is a even larger tag here that once you pull it out, and there's journaling space on the back there as well. Over to the right is a three pocket setup here, where there's two small pockets here with the pull tabs, again, to pull them out very easily. And then that's the back to journal on or to write a brief note. And then in the larger pocket is this larger tag here on the back. That dragonfly is really nice too. And that's the simple setup of the inside of the folio. And then, of course, once you close it, excuse me, it goes this way. Once you close it, then you swing down that piece, and it goes behind your decoration, and it acts as your closure for your project there. So if that is something you're interested in creating, I hope you'll stick around and join me as we create one together. For this folio, I have chosen a different type of cardstock. This is how it will look from the inside, and this is how it will look from the outside. So for this piece measures 11 by 6 3/4. Again, it measures 11 by 6 3/4. I've done some pre-scoring, some pre-cutting to help move the video along, of course. So all I did was score here at 3.5 and 7 3/4. So that's 3.5 and 7 3/4. And these measurements are adjustable based on what you want your folio to look like, you know, how big you want each panel to be. So I'm just going to go ahead and fold these in, score them down, burnish them down, and then fold this other piece in too. Okay, so in actuality, it will go this way. This is how it will look. The left panel on top and the right one on the bottom. And then it will fold up to look like so. So the first thing I want to go ahead and do is work on our left panel here. So again, this panel is 3.5 wide. We measured it out and scored it out to that amount. And so I made double pockets here for this side, and I have already pre-cut those as well. So the bottom pocket is this piece here, and that bottom pocket is measuring 3.25 by 3. So again, double check those measurements. Yes, 3.25 by 3. And I'm just going to place this down at the bottom here, just giving a little bit of an edge here at the bottom so that there's a border all around here. So I will add my glue now to the 3 sides. Just a thin bead of glue as usual so that we maximize the space inside that pocket. So just centering it down and then adding a border all around so that, oh, and it moved a little bit. Let me get it straight here. Okay, I believe that looks a little bit straight. Okay. Okay, so for the top pocket, it's a little bit smaller. So that top pocket measures 3.25 by 2. So that top pocket will go up here, like so. It's right on top, and I'm just eyeballing it. I don't have a specific measurement of the placement of the 2 pockets. I'm just trying to look at it and determine, oh, okay, where do I want it to be? How do I want it to look? You can of course measure it down, and once I place it down, I can let you know how far from the top I've placed it, so that you know if that helps you gauge where you may want to place yours. I can do that. Okay, just making sure it's down straight and giving that glue some time to adhere to the page. So it is about 1/4 of an inch down from the top edge of the folio base. So if you want yours to look like this, then you can certainly do that as well. So I have 2 tags here that I just cut out of the paper stock, added some paper and a green eyelet at the top, and then hopefully this is dry enough so that it fits in there. Okay. Okay, perfect. Okay, so now that fits at the bottom, and then I have this one for the top, and again just cut it out of the paper stock, added some paper up top and a little eyelet, and then that can go ahead and sit inside there. Okay, so our first panel is completely done. Perfect, all the way down. Okay, so the middle panel, you may remember, was kind of like a double pocket, fold over page kind of thing. So for the fold over part, I took a long piece of the paper stock, and this fold over measures 4 by 11, and then all I did was score 2.5 from the top, 2.5 from the bottom. So again, it's 4 by 11, scored at 2.5 and 2.5, and then folded those in together to each other like so, and it creates this fold over page here. So to do the pocket though, in behind this bottom part, I added another sheet of cardstock behind it like so, and this piece measures, it should measure the 4 wide. Yes, it's the 4 wide, and then it's by 3, so 4 by 3, and I'm just going to add it to the back here like so. All I'm going to do is add glue to this base page on the 3 sides and then attach it to the back. So let's go ahead and do that together. Okay, so again, I'm just attaching it to the back here, staying away from that score line so that my page will continue to fold over without any hindrance, and then lining it up so that it matches to the page like that, and that will create a pocket here for you. with that contrasting paper behind it. That kind of adds more layers to it. Okay, so this is our piece here, and what we can do to keep this closed is I created some tags that we could add into this pocket like so, and that will work to help keep the top flap closed, but still adds more decoration here. So, but to add this to the page, I am only going to, let me take those out so you can completely see. So I'm only going to glue this fold over page down by on three sides, again to create that U-shaped glue so that there's a pocket from the top. So let's go ahead and do that as well. And I'm going to line this up with this side panel as well, so that they're kind of in sync with each other from the bottom. And that's about 1/8 of an inch from the bottom is where I lined it up at. And I just want to center this with my score lines as well. So give that a little chance. This little kitty is so cute. My goodness. I thought that was so cute. Okay. Okay, so now we have our middle panel done, and again, once you fold it up, it has this journaling space, and I am actually thinking about adding some journaling paper here, so that, you know, that's an extra secret journaling spot there. But it folds down like so, and then you can add your tags to keep that flap closed like so. I don't want to hide the little kitty, so I'm gonna put that over there like that. And then here's a second tag to add as well. And then for the back is a larger tag that we can add here. And that sort of fits into the back. So first panel, second panel, all completely done. So for the last panel, the first thing we want to do before working on the inside is we want to add our swing closure. So that we can make sure that we have the space, or it allows for us to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and take these tags out, because it'll be easier for me to work with if I can just have this as flat as possible. You could choose to work on this panel first, get it out of the way and have it all together, and then work on the rest of them. So for this outside, to add your closure, I took another piece of paper here from the cardstock, and this swing closure measures about 3 1/4 of an inch. Let me make sure, 3 1/4 of an inch by 4. So when you're doing this, you just want to make sure that whatever size you use for this is, when you line it up like so, it does not interfere with this page. So whatever size or whatever method you're using for your folio, if you want to use this closure method, just make sure whatever piece of paper you're using to be that closure will not interfere with this flap at all, that this flap will still go back and forth. Another thing I did was, although this cardstock is pretty thick and pretty sturdy, because I know this mechanism is going to be used back and forth, I doubled it. I backed it on another piece of cardstock, and so it's 2 pieces of paper, and to me that adds even more sturdiness and allows for it to go back and forth like so. Okay, so to apply it, I turned it to the side, and I found my middle section, the center of this folio, and I just used my ruler, lined it up to find the center section, and then I wanted to come 1/4 of an inch from that edge. So I went to the center and came down 1/4 of an inch and marked myself a little pencil score mark. So this is where I will be poking my hole for the brad that I'm going to use for the closure. So I'll go ahead and get my pokey tool out, and I'm just going to turn it over, and I'm just going to poke a hole in that score mark that I made with the pencil, like so. Very simple, very easy. Okay, Then I want to take my piece of the, what I'm going to use to close it, and I want to line it up from the top and kind of hold it in place, or you could always get a little clip there, hold that in place, and then go ahead and score it down. So when you do it this way, just so that you know, there is, let me bring out the old one so you can kind of see what I'm talking about, because it may be something you don't prefer. So when I did this on this project, I lined it up with the top, and then I went ahead and made the little closure like so. But as you notice, there's some overhang here. I kind of like that, but you may not. So you may want to choose to make this piece shorter than 4 inches, or you may want to choose to cut it off after you do it. That's an option there, but I really liked the overhang here. I thought it was kind of different and eye-catching, so I just left it on the side there. But as I said, to do it, you would line this sheet up with the top of your folio, and then I'm going to turn it over from the inside because I can see the hole that I made there on the inside. And I'm just going to make sure that I still have it even and it hasn't moved. And I'm just going to poke that same hole again, but poking it now through that added sheet of that closure. So I'm going to hold it down and just make sure I don't move things around, that nothing gets moved out of the way. I feel like I'm moving it. Okay, let's see. I feel like I am moving it. Okay, let me make sure that I do this the right way. There we go. Okay. So it will require for you to really hold it down so that, you know, it doesn't move away from where you want it to be. And I'm just reinforcing that hole again, just making sure I have it all in the right place. Yes, perfect. Okay. So then once you have your hole in place, then you can take a brad that you have, and I have this brad here that I'm going to use, and I am just going to finagle it through these little smaller holes. Get both prongs through there. See, it may be better if I do one sheet at a time. That way the prongs won't bend. Let's do that. Okay, it is really giving me a hard time here. Okay, there we go. And now I will get it through the other hole here. Perfect. Okay. Yes. And then when I turn it over, now I can, and make sure your prong legs, when you pull them down, they are going vertical and not horizontal, because you don't want anything to hinder that panel from folding back and forth. So now you can see that your piece is here like so, and it will act as your closure for your page. And you can pull it back up and it will be out of the way now. Okay. So for the inside, as we do the right panel together, what I did was I took a piece of just Scotch tape, because I am going to be creating a pocket, and I don't want whatever I put inside that pocket, I don't want it to be hindered by the prongs of this brad that I used. So I just took a piece of regular Scotch tape and just added it on top, so that whatever I put in the pocket will easily be inserted inside and out. So just add that there. Okay. Now for the right side, we have 3 pockets. So for the first pocket, the long pocket, I took a sheet of the paper from the cardstock, and a large pocket measures 2.5 by 6 3/4. and I am just going to glue that down to this page. I've come a little bit away from that score line so that, you know, it doesn't interfere with the folding or anything. And so I'm just going to glue this on the 3 sides to create the pocket. Okay, so I can now add that down. Okay, and adhere that down to the page. And I think I'm a little bit off, so let me just try to straighten this up just a little bit more so that it's lined up properly. Okay, so now you can see that you have this pocket here that you can now insert something inside of. I do have the pieces to make additional pockets, so I created these 2 pieces to create additional pockets on top of this pocket. And these pieces, these smaller pockets, measure 1 1/4 by 3 1/4. So 1 1/4 by 3 1/4, and I just kind of eyeballed where I wanted their placement to be. I'm just lining them up against the edges of the top and the bottom of the folio, and then I'll go ahead and glue them down, just creating that pocket again. I was thinking that this is so super simple that it might actually be a good thing for like a mass make if you had to make like several gifts for people. You could easily do like your pre-cutting and scoring and then just start adding all of this. Or if you wanted to make a few to have in your stash for a journal that you may want to use for future, you could always have these lined up as well for that too. Okay, so this is all lined up here, and I do have some tags for that too. I do have this tag here, and this tag measures 2 3/4 by what is that, 6 1/4. Oh, I just threw it away. Oh no. Okay, so let's go ahead and add that in here. We should be able to fit it into the side like so. Get that worked in. Okay, there we go. Okay, and then you have your ribbon there too. Then for the smaller ones, I have these small little tags that I'm just going to add here, and they'll go there. And then I have one more that I'm going to add here. So then, now that I've done the brad on the front with the closure, I can go ahead and add these tags back in. And I am going to go ahead and add this one back and this one back. Okay, perfect. Now there is a whole bunch more of decorating that you can do. If you have like ephemera pieces, some lace, some things that you want to add, you can certainly add those in, and then you would close it out, and then of course this piece would fold over and would be your closure. Now, one thing you do want to do is you want to give this something to rest on or to land on to help keep this closed. And so we're going to now work on some decoration that we can use for the front that will act as our closure piece to make it stay in place and stay closed, if that makes sense. So let's work on that now. To finish out our closure, as I mentioned, you do want to apply something that will give this like a stopper for your swing closure. So what I did was the first thing I did was line it up as to where I wanted to be, and then make myself a little mark with my pencil so that I could know exactly where to line it up. So I think this appears to be about even. So I'm just going to make a little tick mark my line there with my pencil so that I can know how I want it to rest there. Let me see. know, it seems like I've made that crooked, so let me try it again. Okay. Okay, and then what I did was cut a piece of chipboard. So this is just a scrap piece of chipboard. It doesn't matter the color. This one is just black because it's what I had on hand. It won't be seen at all, but it's just a piece that that is relatively thick that will allow that paper to stop there. So I'm going to apply glue and try to line this up on my page. Okay, there we go. All right. So I'm just going to line this up and put it where I made that pencil mark at. And before I allow the glue to dry, I just want to pull down my closure to make sure that it is in the right place. And it is. Okay. Great. Perfect. So as you can see, it has a stopper for going up and down, but it still wants to flap open this way. So you do have to add something else to keep it laying flat onto the page. And so I just did a cluster with the ephemera pieces. Actually, the first thing I'm going to do is do the pull tab here. So I made a tab here, just using my tab punch. And I'm just going to apply that because you want to have something that you can, again, pull this out with back and forth. So I'm just going to apply this onto the edge here, line it up with the edge of that closure piece, get it all lined up together. Okay, that's better. Okay, so now that I have the closure piece, I also want to go ahead and add my eyelet. So I'm just going to pull this apart here and make my hole for my eyelet so that I can add that on as well. You could certainly do this before adding the piece of paper down. It might make it a little bit easier for you. And you won't have to finagle around all these different pieces, and might make it a little bit simpler for you. So I'm just going to add this piece down, this eyelet in here, and then secure it in place. Okay, perfect. Okay, so now I have the eyelet in place. I have that there, so this will add as my pull tab. I'll get my ribbon and add it on there too. And now that I have that in place, now I can put this cluster here and kind of judge where exactly I want the cluster to be so that it still allows this to go back and forth and still is enough space to allow it to stop and lay flat against the project too. So let's go ahead and, okay, I think this is kind of where it can be. Just trying to judge it and make sure I'm straight and everything too. Give that something. Okay. Let me go ahead and add the glue. And I'm just adding glue onto the chipboard piece. That's it, just the chipboard piece. Not on the folio itself, just the chipboard piece, because that's where I want this cluster to adhere to, is on there. Okay, perfect. And so now that you've added that cluster of ephemera on here, now it has something for the closure piece to rest against, and you also have the chipboard underneath for the closure to go down and stop against as well. So, and then you have that pretty little design on the front as well. So let me go ahead and add the ribbon onto this, and then we'll do a final look of how it all came together. I've added my ribbon onto the closure piece, and this is how it all came together. So now you have the ribbon here where you can pull the closure piece up, pull it out of the way, and now your folio will open up. And this is how it looks on the inside. I added a little bit of ephemera pieces scattered throughout, but as mentioned, it still has the same layout as the previous one, with the tags on the front, on the first panel, the middle panel. I did also add just so that you could see, I added a piece of paper here so that journaling could happen there as well. I'll just put these back here, but you can see all the decoration that we added there. And of course, you know, you can feel free to decorate it how you would like it to appear, but it still closes down. And now you can secure it with your closure piece and just move it behind all of your ephemera cluster on the front. And so that's how it all comes together and lays flat. And then this is the previous one that we made together as well. So hope you enjoyed that little project. Hope it's something that you'd be interested in trying for yourself as well. It's just another way, another method that we can use to close down our projects. If you don't want to use ribbon as a closure or Velcro as a closure, it's another option that you can use for your journaling pages or your projects that you create. So thank you once again for joining me on my channel, Pretty Pink Craft Room. If you like what you have seen, hopefully you may be inclined to like, comment, and even subscribe to my channel and join me for future craft projects as well. Until next time, talk to you soon. Have a good one. Bye.